Good afternoon, gentlemen of the press, and thank you very much for coming. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the Bermuda Constitution. This landmark document is the foundation of modern democracy in Bermuda. It sets out the electoral processes by which Bermudians choose their parliamentary representatives and their government. To have free and fair elections, there must be a level playing field. We have had 3 changes of the party in government, the first in 1998, the second in 2012, and the third in 2017. Our general elections have largely been free of allegations of impropriety or election fraud. In the past, when a party won or lost, a Bermudian could have the conviction that there was a fair electoral process. Successive generations of Bermudians have fought for us to take this assumption for granted. That is, to fully enjoy the right to participate in free and fair elections where political parties are able to compete on a level playing field. It is for this reason that I come before you today, the people of Bermuda, with a very heavy heart to raise some very serious and grave concerns. Specifically, it is our belief that the PLP has had improper access to the private contact information of thousands of registered voters over a period of at least 5 years, as confirmed by the Parliamentary Registrar in a report to the Gazette, which said, and I quote, "I have now been able to ascertain that the information was requested and approved in 2012 by the then Parliamentary Registrar. File transfer of the information was still in effect beyond 2012, she added. It is our belief that the PLP obtained the private and confidential contact details, email addresses, and phone numbers of voters via access from the Parliamentary Registrar's office, which the then opposition leader David Burt has already admitted in July last year. In a pre-election 2017 interview at Alaska Hall, opposition leader Burt was asked a question about an investigation into unsolicited emails being sent to voters by their party, the PLP. He said, "I can only refer you to the statement we made when we were contacted by your newspaper on Thursday or Friday on that matter." He was then asked, "Does the party want to comment as to how the information as to email addresses was obtained in the first place?" Mr. Burt replied, "That was in our statement. I don't have a copy in front of me, but the information came from the Parliamentary Registrar's office. We contact voters on the doorstep, we contact them by email, by phone, and that information is received from the Parliamentary Registrar's office." He was asked a follow-up question. "Are you saying that the Parliamentary Registrar provided email addresses to the PLP?" Mr. Burt replied, "The information we received is the same information that we have received from the Parliamentary Registrar, I want to say, for the last 10 years. He was asked whether email addresses were included. Mr. Burt replied, "The information we received does include that, yes." He was asked, "Do they give it to you?" Mr. Burt replied, "We have a link that we download the information from, that we have been downloading information from for the past 7 or 8 years. We point out that the access to this data has not been given to the OBA. Using this singular access, the PLP was able to aggressively target voters. We discovered this impropriety in the run-up to the 2017 general election. Our candidates were contacted by numerous voters complaining that they were being contacted by the PLP via calls to their private telephones and emails and to their private addresses. These voters stated emphatically that this private personal contact information had not been shared with them, by them with the PLP. In some instances, voters indicated that they had only recently registered with the Office of the Parliamentary Registrar. Voters stated that the PLP had then contacted them on a specific email or personal mobile or home phone number that was not publicly available, or had only recently been created or obtained, and that email or mobile number has been shared only with the Office of the Parliamentary Registrar. The Parliamentary Registrar has confirmed that such information is not made public. A prominent notice on the Parliamentary Registrar's website states, "Records obtained or created by the Parliamentary Registration Office in the course of carrying out its functions are not accessible to the public." By an email to the OBA dated 28th of October 2015, the Parliamentary Registrar confirmed to the OBA that, I quote, "The sharing of email and phone numbers is not something that we share outside the office." In addition, the Parliamentary Registrar, in a letter of 14th of July 2017, stated, "I can confirm as Parliamentary Registrar, I have given no authorization to anyone to share voter contact information. Neither am I aware of how this information could have been obtained by persons outside the Parliamentary Registrar's office. This is clearly not acceptable." If the Constitution can be thought of as the rules of the game, the Parliamentary Registry is its referee. All good sportsmen love winning and hate losing, but they participate knowing that the referee isn't favoring the other side. That is, if they lose one day, they can still win on another. Whether knowingly or not, the Office of the Parliamentary Registrar tipped the balance in favor of one side. Since the OBA shone a spotlight on this issue, the Parliamentary Registrar has confirmed that she did not authorize this sharing of private information. Ms. Tania Woolridge said that she would launch an investigation into how voters' information was improperly released. She committed to sharing the outcome of this process. However, that report has not yet been released to the public. We firmly believe that there is an overriding public interest in the release of any report and getting to the center of this web of apparent deceit. Fast forward nearly a year. The public remains none the wiser. What happened with the investigation? Where is the registrar's report? What is being done to prevent this sort of thing from happening? We understand that she has prepared a report, but still, we know nothing. The PLP are still in possession of this information and are using it to the hilt while falsely claiming that they obtained all their information through their canvassing. Despite the promise by the Parliamentary Registrar, we have not been able to obtain the release of the report. The OBA demands that this report be released into the public domain immediately. Transparency must be the order of the day. If we are to ensure true democracy, responsible parties must be held accountable, and the playing field must be leveled to ensure fair elections in the future. At the bedrock, this is not about the OBA, and it is not about the PLP. It is about democracy and the protection thereof. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Mrs. Gordon-Pamplin, you stated just now that this relationship tipped between the PLP and the registry office, tipped a balance in the PLP's favor. Are you stating that you believe this relationship cost the party votes, the OBA votes in the election?
What I'm saying is that democracy has not been protected. What I'm saying is that during the 2017 election, there was the ability of one party to be able to contact voters that was not given to the other party. Clearly, the election was won by the PLP because more people voted for the PLP. But we are more concerned about the protection of democracy and not about the results of the election.
Couple of sort of housekeeping questions. Why are you giving this statement instead of the party?
The statement was being given because the issue was initially raised just prior to the election, and then it was perpetuated in communication with the Parliamentary Registrar during the period of time during which I was the interim leader of the One Bermuda Alliance, and it was the correspondence from the Parliamentary Registrar came to me, so it was deemed to be appropriate for me to deliver the statement.
And so it's been a year now. What kind of, can you sort of characterize the communication you've had with the Parliamentary Registrar?
Yes, we actually brought the issue up. It came up just prior to the last election because we were receiving complaints. We then, through the then chair of the One Bermuda Alliance, sent correspondence to the Parliamentary Registrar asking what was happening and could we get an explanation as to how this matter could have reached such a situation. That correspondence is what I have highlighted in my statement, that in fact she came back and said that she did not authorize the release of any such information, but very clearly the information had been released.
I guess what I'm getting at is, has there been, have you, the OBA, conducted your own sort of independent investigation, or are you just waiting for her to explain what happened?
We were promised that the Parliamentary Registrar would conduct an investigation, that she would produce a report, and that we would be advised of the results thereof. That has not happened. I don't know whether I don't know the extent to which she has actually conducted an investigation. I can say that we have not been privy to a report.
But have you, the One Bermuda Alliance, conducted your own investigation separate from the...
Separately, we have determined by consultation with voters who have actually come and complained to us that their information had been compromised and therefore their democratic rights had been violated. As a result of that, very clearly, we don't have access to the information within the Office of the Parliamentary Registrar, and we are waiting for the Parliamentary Registrar to advise us as to what she has found and to how a breach of information sharing could have possibly occurred.
In 2015, are we still talking about the same person?
Yes.
Tania Woolridge was a parliamentary in 2015?
That is correct.
But in 2012, she wasn't.
She was not.
Okay. Who was? And this began, apparently this information was released from 2012.
That is correct.
Okay, so what I'm really trying to understand is,
it was ongoing.
I'm just wondering if you, because, I mean, I looked into it myself, right? And, you know, the sort of assurances I've got is that the PLP did not get any information that the OBA didn't get. Okay, that's what has been told to me, and you say that's not the case.
That is not the case.
Okay.
As David Burt has indicated, as I mentioned in my statement, David Burt indicated that they have a direct link to download information from the Parliamentary Registry, which includes email addresses and telephone and contact information. And interestingly, a lot of this information came from, or the complaints came from people who had recently registered in 2017. So very clearly, the challenge that was identified historically has continued. It's been an ongoing problem.
Okay, so, I mean, you seem to be suggesting that there's some kind of bias on the part of the Parliamentary Registrar, or the former one.
No, what I am suggesting is that there is information that has been made available to one political party, which has not been made available to the other, that clearly has impacted and impinged on the democratic process. It is that we are attempting to balance and to alleviate.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, so I'm just trying to get this because, you know, weeks before the election, when people started complaining on Facebook that the information was somehow obtained by the PLP, I didn't hear any PLP supporters saying that there was information obtained, you know, that people shouldn't have had. We
don't know who those people supported.
Right. So, but there was actually on that website a vulnerability whereby people could actually, and I think Justin may have been, I'm not saying you don't have the ability, but a lot of people have had the ability to actually intercept the traffic going to the Parliamentary Registrar. Because their database is very secure. Could it just simply be a security vulnerability?
That's why we need a report.
Or could it be, I mean...
You're suggesting there was hacking.
I'm not saying that, I'm saying...
Could that be a possibility?
If you leave your website open, if you were in Rock Island Coffee Shop on their, you know, access to the internet on a public Wi-Fi, somebody could intercept that.
Let me say that we asked how was this information made
Right.
available to one side and not to the other. In fact, when we asked in 2015 whether we could have access to the same information, we were told that it is not made available outside of the Parliamentary Registrar's office.
Yeah.
So if that be the case, there would have been, as a part of the investigation that would have been conducted by the Parliamentary Registrar, there had to be the assumption that the investigation was thorough and that if there were any deficiencies in the security of the system, the report would have been able to reveal that. And certainly, if we had been able to access that report, then we would at least know where the challenges were and how we could conceivably move forward.
Right. So I guess what I'm trying to point out, you may not be aware of this, but there was actual vulnerability. I know this. I
So it
told.
would be in the report.
Now, in 2012.
Well, you're giving us new evidence, which we
Because
can't
it's new
Well, that's what
information.
I
We can't
asked in the
discuss that
beginning
today.
whether you had investigated
And we said
yourself,
no, we
but it's
reported
not
it
a
to the
difficult
Parliamentary
thing.
Registrar. It's very simple.
Right,
She
I
responded
understand
to
that.
you.
No, but here's my second question. In 2012, your I think it was deputy chairman was Michael Branco, correct? Or was it the chair or?
Okay.
No,
Between 2012 and.
in any event.
Okay,
Right.
carry on with your
No,
question,
I'm
then
just saying,
carry on with your question, then I
guess-
can understand where you're coming
you know,
from.
what my confusion is that, you know, you lot standing here, didn't know or did not receive that information.
Mhm.
The office said they had a request. David Burtis said he requested it.
Mhm.
Their position is that whatever they gave to one, they would have given to the other.
But that is not
Right?
accurate.
And for some reason, that access stopped, was not stopped.
Well, you're giving evidence of something.
I'm not.
We're not going to go into that now. You're giving evidence of a factual situation.
Well,
This
I'm
is a-
asking.
this
Have
is a
you
press
asked Michael
conference.
Branco whether he knew there was that kind of access? That's my question.
Well,
We're
my
not-
response,
look, right now, we're just discussing the press conference. We've read you the statements of what the Parliamentary Registrar has said. We're not going to go into an investigation into this room at this minute. So let's see that report,
No, but
then
sorry.
we'll have your further discussion.
Sorry, my problem is this, right? Is that if I could, and I'm a journalist, you know, I'm
Yeah,
not
but
really into
we're not
tech.
here for that.
If
Bio-
no,
but
there were
that-
several
what-
people
Let
who
me hear his
noticed
question.
a vulnerability on that
We're not here to
website.
discuss hacking or vulnerabilities.
I'm
We're
just
giving you the press
wondering-
release.
No, I'm just wondering why somebody who's an expert in IT that was your chair,
You've gone
or deputy
way
chair,
off the
was not
reservation.
aware of that.
You've gone way
I'm
off the
just simply asking
reservation.
the question.
We're not in a position to answer those questions. We're asking for the Parliamentary Registrar's report.
But it's been a year. Did you ask?
Thank you,
Ask-
Aya. Thank you,
ask
thank you.
Mr. Branco
Thank
whether
you.
he was aware
Thank
of this.
you,
That's
thank
what
you,
I'm asking.
thank
We're
you
asking
very
for the
much.
report.
Thank you.
Do I have a last question?
Mr. Scott was the, I'm almost sure, the Parliamentary Registrar back in 2012.
that is correct.
Are you crying foul?
No, what I am saying is that I would like to see there to be an even playing field in terms of parliamentary democracy. I am not crying foul. I'm appealing for fairness through the process, and that fairness will inure to the benefit of Bermuda in being able to advance its democratic reliability going forward. The voters ought to be able to be comforted that if the registry is indicating that their information is private, then they should have comfort that their information is not going to be revealed to one party or another.
Do you feel it was an unfair advantage because of Mr. Scott's affiliation with the PLP?
No, I certainly would not. Certainly would not make that allegation at all. I'm just saying that whatever happened, we would be able to determine it if we received a copy of the report from the Parliamentary Registrar, which indicates what she was able to discover during her investigation.
All right, guys. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions. I just have a couple of questions. Is the Register of Voters not a public document?
The Register of Voters is a public document. It is made publicly available, but it has the name, address, of the date of birth of the voter.
It doesn't have contact
It does not have contact information. It does not have email addresses, and therein lies the problem.
But for example, I'm on that list. I'm pretty sure I was not asked for that type of information. Are you 100% certain that that information was obtained from?
I'm 100% certain that that information is actually as a part of the registration form. Your contact number, your email address is one of the prerequisites that one must fill out when they fill in the application form for registration.
You alluded to recent examples of the PLP making use of this information. What is the most recent example that you can cite of it being used?
Well, we've just recently had a by-election in constituency 25 and 22, and that the challenge that was identified in 2017 manifested itself again during the more recent by-elections.
Again, just for my own clarity, so you're 100% certain that that information, emails and phone numbers, is in the possession of the Parliamentary Registrar?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much.